Welcome back to Brigadoon Radio. We're here in Sundance, Utah, at the wrap-up of the 2019 session of Brigadoon. Marc Ross.
It happened. We finished. Oh my gosh.
Well, this was the 7th year, and a big thing that people were saying is that, that Brigadoon as a concept it's evolved, it's matured, it's deepened in its flavor and what it brings to people. How do you feel that this year's gathering of people, really came together as a whole?
Well, I got to say I'm, super satisfied. I mean, this has been a very rewarding project to put together. I mean, we go back 7 years. We had 8 people show up for the first Brigadoon, and now we have some of the most dynamic, interesting speakers, shaping commerce and culture at a very high level, and just hearing from people and connecting people from different industries, from different parts of the country, just to get the feedback from people has been really rewarding, and I feel very happy. I mean, I think what we're doing here is really special. I think the people that have stepped up in a myriad of ways, from recruiting speakers to helping, broadcasts like this, to making sure we have the right people in the room, it's really rewarding.
I think it's really interesting that, almost with the idea of starting with a prompt, which might be the issue that someone's going to talk about, and then that inspires these further discussions that are happening on the ski hill and around the property and in the woods. And would you say that it sometimes feels like we're ahead of the game as far as what other people are talking about, what you're going to see in the news, and because we have such like-minded, high-minded people that we're actually looking 5 steps down the line at what are you going to hear in your households, in your neighborhoods, in your social groups coming. How can we keep looking at that future further as the Brigadoon, brand evolves?
Yeah, I think about my real main responsibility as the founder and kind of creator of this project is really to be the curator, kind of really looking at those issues, almost pattern matching, frankly, and saying, listen, there's something happening here. It might not be in the front page news right now. It might not be on 60 Minutes. It might not be on USA Today. But clearly, within 2 or 3 years, these are going to become major issues. So our discussion, even this morning, about the future of work, women's entrepreneurship, how, frankly, the U.S. government is going to deal with the Chinese government. These are big macro issues that certainly are being discussed, maybe at a very elite level, but not to the point where, I think they're going to be shaping campaigns and elections. But having that as like the forefront of who's going to speak, who's going to address, is kind of key. And to your point, there's never enough time. Having 45-minute, 65-minute discussions, never enough time. But I think the beauty of Brigadoon is really, as you pointed out, is like, listen, let's lay the foundation. Here's the topic, and let's start the conversation. Having no PowerPoints, really keeping the technology aspect of it, really having people have conversations in a very kind of collegial, friendly way is super important. Regardless if you disagree or what your policy position is, having an open environment to have that makes sense.
I think the curation is really it's sort of a breath of fresh air compared to what kind of interactions are being, offered to some people in different disciplines. And, just like the mountain, this is really more the beginning, not the end, because it's snowballing. One little idea will actually follow its way through for a lot of these people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, too, I feel we've done a really good job of finding speakers, not only that are talking really important topics, but maybe they're 1 or 2 years away from being kind of mainstream, which I think is super important. There's a lot of great events out there. I think there's a lot of important activities going on, but in some cases, I think going smaller, being more intentional, curating at a very high level, and making sure you have kind of emerging leaders that are discussing emerging issues that are shaping culture and commerce is super important.
Intentional is one of my favorite words. Brigadoon is certainly not on accident. So I think that's maybe a good way to wrap up this year's sessions. Thanks for having us here in Utah.
Brendan, thank you very much. Our audio intern, Mark Stellingworth, thank you very much.
I just want to say, Brigadoon, you'd hate it.
You'd hate it. What's the point? Signing off.